Hello, everyone, and welcome to Grooving and Giving in Early Retirement. I'm Radhika. Thank you for spending your time with me today. This channel is where we talk about living our best life in early retirement, giving back to our local and global communities, and the glue that holds it all together, financial freedom. I left my career in the middle of the pandemic to focus on my passions. And one of those passions is traveling. And boy, look at this. I'm in Kuala Lumpur at the Petronas Towers. And what an amazing view. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. Ding, ding, ding. You know the drill. Thanks, everyone.
In this video, I am talking about the overlooked gems, one of them being Santiago, Chile. The other one is Valparaiso, although more people go to Valparaiso than stay and stick around in Santiago, which I believe is actually a pretty nice city, depending on, how much time you have. But so most people come to Santiago and they're transiting through Santiago. So they don't really spend a lot of time there. They're connecting flights. Most international flights will come into Santiago. And from there, they're either going to Easter Island or they're going to Southern Patagonia or maybe somewhere else. So they don't really spend a lot of time in Santiago. And so because we were slow traveling through South America, we had time. We had already done Patagonia. We had done Easter Island. We had time to spend in Santiago. And I should say we were traveling in South America for an extensive number of days because of my husband's profession. He's a travel photographer, and we choose our destination based on work needs and things like that. I have another video on that, so I'll link that. So he's a travel and wildlife photographer, and he was rebuilding his portfolio after COVID, which obviously COVID really had an impact on a lot of small businesses, and everybody had to rethink their business model, which is what he was doing. So if you are able to slow travel, I would say take some time and explore Santiago. We spent 2 weeks there because the other reason we were there was we were trying to do a project for my not-for-profit, a childhood for children in Santiago. That didn't quite work out, but that was one of the reasons why we decided to spend 2 weeks in Santiago. So for us, it was easy because we were already there. The other reason that contributed to us being okay staying in Santiago for 2 weeks is because we were also in a home exchange. That is another travel hack video that I've done, so check that video out. And so there wasn't an additional hotel cost associated with us staying for 2 weeks in Santiago. Staying in Santiago for a few days gives you that time to explore some of the things that you may not have thought about. We were lucky. As part of our home exchange, we had hosted a couple in our home, and this couple, the lady is Chilean and French, and her husband is French, and she also grew up in Valparaiso. So we wanted to go see them. We become friends, so we wanted to go see them. And because she's from Valparaiso, we got a personalized tour of the city. Now, it was all in Spanish, and I think I caught maybe 70% of it, but nevertheless, it was great to have such a personalized tour of Valparaiso. It is a great city. So let's start with Santiago because I'm getting ahead of myself. Now, we took an overnight bus from Pucón to Santiago. It left around 9 p.m. from Pucón because we were already in the northern Patagonia lake area. And we arrived in Santiago about 7 o'clock in the morning. We took an Uber to our home exchange, and it was very comfortable. This is one of the advantages of having home exchange. We arrived kind of early in the morning, and our host was an economics professor at one of the universities, so he lived in the same building. He let us into the building, even gave us, we had coffee with him, and he let us stay in his apartment while the apartment we were going to stay in was being cleaned. And once it was done being cleaned, the cleaning lady showed us to our apartment. So that was really nice that we had somewhere to wait in an apartment and not just be sitting in a lobby or out on the street for hours. Because like I said, we arrived at 7 a.m. thereabouts. So that's one of the advantages of a home exchange. It's not like a check-in time or a check-out time. Everybody works with your travel schedule, and it is really that friendly and nice. So Santiago, we found Santiago very walkable. When we stayed close to the Paseo de la Moneda in a home exchange, and anytime we needed to go somewhere farther away, we either took the bus, the metro, or an Uber. We found it very easy to go around the city. There was never a moment where it felt like, oh, this doesn't feel right. The metro was pretty good. Now, there are times that the metro closes. So if you're coming in late night or coming in early morning, the metro closes at a certain time, so you may have to be taking an Uber. But again, this is not a difficult thing to do in Santiago. So we were in and out of bus stations, we were in and out of metro stations, not a problem. One thing I will say about Santiago, like any other big city, be aware of the pickpocketing, be aware that they will grab your cell phone. In fact, we saw that happen in the main square, and there was a girl running after the person who stole her phone, yelling after him. So it's a sprawled out city. It's a nice city, but again, be aware of your surroundings. Be aware of, particularly in the main square, which is Plaza de Armas de Santiago. So just be aware of that. Okay. Um, if you're going to Google things to see in Chile, you will get a list. That's what I did. So I'm going to just go through the list and I'm going to give you the highlights, and I'm going to do it from my experience. You don't have to do everything on the list. We skipped a few things because we felt like either we were not interested or they were too expensive, or like, when you're slow traveling, you don't tend to do every single thing on the list. So let me just go through and tell you what we did. Vamos. First, Paseo de la Moneda. This is the presidential palace. This is a must see. And in fact, what I would suggest is go see it when they're doing changing of the guard. They do changing of the guard on Tuesday and Sunday. Go see it. No, but check the dates, because when we went, it was Tuesday and Sunday. We loved this so much that we went and saw it multiple times. It is a very serious ceremony. Get there early, get your place. You're standing the whole time you're seeing it. Serious ceremony. But what caught me off guard is when the military band starts playing. Mamma mia. I was just like, what? I was not expecting that. And then the next time we went, they played Beatles tunes. They also played Frank Sinatra. So it's a little bit of a serious ceremony, but the music was kind of upbeat. And this is free. It's a really nice ceremony. So go. Do be aware that if you go on a day where they're not having the changing of the guard ceremony, they'd be using that space for other things. We went one day and it was a ping pong tournament that we then, sort of a games actually, it wasn't a tournament. So we played ping pong. It was like they were promoting the game. Another time we went and there were protests, and they do use that space because the president does live there. So they use that space to send their messaging through protests. So just be aware of that. The next one that came up was Plaza de Armas, which is, of course, the main square. It's a very big plaza. As you know, a lot of Spanish cities have that in the city, also where the Metropolitan Cathedral is. It is a very large square, like a lot of other Spanish cities. It is, they consider it to be the heart of Santiago. I'm not sure that it is or it isn't. And is also the landmark, which is like kilometer zero. So in the center of the square, there's a small green place. We went there numerous times. And again, there are lots of people doing their arts and crafts. Be careful, there are tours there. There's a lot of activity there. So this is definitely a place to be careful of your belongings. Now, we stepped foot into the church. It's not like we spent a lot of time in the church. So if this is definitely something you should go see because it's the main square of the city. All right, next, Museum of Memory and Human Rights. This is an absolute must-see. It is dedicated it's a museum dedicated to human rights and the violations that took place during the Pinochet regime. I'll admit I had not done a lot of reading up on the Pinochet regime, and as we were learning about this regime, it's horrifying. This is a very solemn museum. It's done very, very well. To this day, there are people that were taken during this regime that their families don't know what happened to them. And the museum kind of highlights all of that. It's a really nice museum. And by the way, a lot of these museums are just completely free of charge, which is, I think it's amazing to me. It's kind of obviously kind of akin to what the museums are in Washington, D.C. for us Americans. Brace yourself for what you will read. Everything is in Spanish, but of course you can Google translate it through your phone. So really great. Now, before we went to this museum, we happened to see an exhibition at the Biblioteca Nacional de Chile, which was near the Cerro Santa Lucia, that showed all the struggles of the mothers who were really actually quite active in that protest, and they forced the issue of, um, where are their children? And during this regime of destruction of books and just kidnapping people off the streets who were against the authoritarian government, which is kind of a funny use of words, particularly in 2025, particularly as an American. I'll say no more. But again, it's understandable. I've been taking Spanish lessons as I early retired, so I understood a lot of what was written, and anything I didn't understand, like I said, I used Google Translate. Okay, next. Museo Chileno de Arte Precolombino. We skipped this museum only because I think at some point we were kind of museumed out, and we also picked the museums we wanted. It is a paid museum. So if that's something of interest to you, check it out. And like I said, it's not a very difficult, not a very expensive museum. The next one was La Chascona, which is the home of Pablo Neruda. He's a famous poet, Chilean poet. We skipped this as well. Again, feeling like we kind of picked our museums, and so this wasn't a museum that was all that interesting to us. Um, and the museum that is in Santiago is a house for his wife Matilda, his secret love at the time. He named it La Charascona in her honor. The museum's about $10 per person, but again, we just had so much else to do that we did not see this museum either here in Santiago, and he also has a home in Valparaiso. We didn't see that one either. The next one is Metropolitan Cathedral. That'll come up on your list. It is the main cathedral, like I said, located in the Plaza de Armas de Santiago. We stepped in, but cathedrals, we've seen so many churches that sometimes I can't remember all the churches, but we did pop in and had a beautiful ceiling. All right, other things that'll come up on your list is Cerro San Cristobal. This is where they have the statue up on the mountain. If you have a chance, see this. You can take the funicular up and down. We hiked up and then we took the funicular down because we wanted to stay up there as long as we possibly could for the sunset views. One suggestion, if you're going to hike up there, make sure you have water, and also make sure you're hiking at a time when there are other people doing it. Like, don't do it all by yourself kind of thing. And then you can take the funicular down because you want to stay as long as you possibly can for the sunset. One thing to note is the church up there does close at a certain time. So if you are interested in seeing the church, make sure you get there early enough to be able to. It's a small church. You can just literally pop your head out, pop back. The views are spectacular. The views here are better than any really tall building sky deck that you'll ever get. So just kind of know that. Next one, Cerro Santa Lucia. This is an absolute must see. In fact, if you have time, see it multiple times. It's a historic hill right in the center of Santiago. In fact, just a little bit away from the Royal Palace. It's got really great city views and garden views. Unfortunately, when we went, a lot of the sites were closed. They were under reconstruction and renovation. Still, it was a wonderful place to go visit, and it's a must-see. Spend your time walking and exploring, and if you have time, have a little picnic. One thing I'll say is that if you do come there from the palace side, make sure you walk all the way to the other side and see the fountain in the front. We went back here numerous times. It is free of charge, so why not? Next viewpoint that you can use is Sky Costanera, which is an observation deck in one of the tallest buildings in Latin America. It provides a 360-degree viewpoint. We skipped this, and here's why. So many times as we're traveling, there'll be like some big tall building with some sky deck and beautiful city views. But then you're so far up there that the city views, you just see lights or you just see like little buildings. I prefer to be a little bit lower and actually see the city. So after we did the Cristobal and we did Santa Lucia, we felt like we got really nice views from that level rather than being so far up that we just see like little tiny things. That's my suggestion, but don't feel like, you have to take it. Okay, neighborhoods and markets that, you'll get told to go see. Bella Vista, vibrant neighborhood, by the way, a very bohemian atmosphere. It's got the art and nightlife. It's very vibrant. If you go to the San Cristobal and you walk there, and when you come down after the funicular, you can walk in this neighborhood at that time. It's well lit. I felt safe. So consider doing that. The other neighborhood is Las Tarria. It's got the Parque Forestal. This is a beautiful park. It's huge, and there's so much to see from one side to the other. We spent time. We had a little picnic there. We would just go to the park as something to do and have some daily activities. So it was a really nice setting overall. I would highly recommend it. And by the way, if you don't see the whole park, that's not a big deal. You'll see some of it, and it's by the river. And on the weekend, just know that the roads are closed because they'll have bikes and people who walk and run. We've noticed this in a lot of the Latin American countries. Okay, the next one is Mercado Central. It's a bustling market. We bought food there several times. There's also a lot of neighborhood markets. We spent 2 weeks in Santiago, so we definitely went food shopping. Okay, now let's talk about the day trips out of the city. Santiago is nice, but if you want to step out, there are several day trips. There's Cayon del Maipo, which is a scenic mountain area in the Andes. We skipped this day trip because we had spent a lot of time in southern Patagonia, in Argentina and Chile. Check those videos. And so, we really felt like we've gotten a good view of the Andes. Also, we were going to cross over from Chile into Salta from San Pedro de Atacama, so we would get those views again. The Maipo Valley, which is the wine region, again, we skipped that because we felt like there were other day trips that we wanted to do. And one of the day trips that I would highly, highly, highly recommend is Valparaiso. And if you have time, also check out Viña del Mar. It's very close. Viña del Mar was the beach. We went and visited our friends and spent time with them, so we really enjoyed that. Valparaiso is the main attraction. It is a coastal city, very beautiful. It is remarkable. Now, getting to Valparaiso from Santiago is super easy. You get to the main bus station. One time we took the metro, another time we took the Uber. The first time we did this, we took the Uber, but it was relatively inexpensive. Then hopped on a bus to Valparaiso. Very easy to do. The first time we went to our friends, so they took us around Valparaiso, but then we went back a second time and we did the walking tour in Valparaiso, which I would highly recommend. They have free walking tours, and of course, you tip the guide what you want. So consider that. Do be careful though on the buses. Don't leave your backpack on the luggage rack on top of your seat, because our friend told us that somebody just swiped her entire bag instead of like digging. Sometimes they'll dig in your bag, sometimes they'll swipe it. So always keep your bag closer to you, whether it's a backpack or whatever you're taking, your day bag. Valparaiso is a maze of streets with beautiful murals, and it is up on the hill. So you come in at in the port area, but then you want to go up. So you want to take the funicular up, and these because the city is up there, the cable cars that run are very inexpensive. So you want to take the 2 cable cars that are there up. The second time we went, it was closed. So there are stairs that you can take, very steep stairs you can take up. During your walking tour, of course, you'll have your guide. And so you'll see all the murals. They'll give you all the explanation to some of the murals. And some of the murals are based in politics and the history of the country. So you want that background and that information. That's why I'm recommending the walking tour. But after the tour is done, walk around on your own. The street, it's just a maze of streets. You want to go back and look at the murals again. Maybe you want to spend more time taking photographs. It's really, really nice. And then when you're done at the top level, you can come down. There's a big square, Plaza Sotomayor. You can spend time there. There are lots of cafes and eateries. There's, of course, the port, so you can see all the boats. You can also do a little boat tour. So just don't think that you have to have a start and a stop time. Go spend time and enjoy the vibrancy of Valparaiso. In the walking tour, you will also see buildings that in their heyday had the vibrancy and the jazz and the pizzazz, and now are abandoned a little bit, or they don't have as much going on, or they have a market in there, for instance. Make sure that you're taking the time to absorb all of that. What was so cool as part of the tour, we also went and saw the stock exchange, and we went into the vaults of the stock exchange. So I just find that very interesting, given my background is finance and accounting and tax. So if you are in Chile and you have a few extra days, you're going to be coming in and out of Santiago anyway on your international trip, think about adding in a few days and spending some time in Santiago and Valparaiso. I found these to be really great and a great and easy way to see a city that is quite walkable, Santiago and Valparaiso, that is also quite walkable and easy to be there. Thank you so much for watching. This is Radhika. I am grieving and giving in early retirement. Kamen, which means thank you in Vietnamese.